I mentioned this before we went on air. Now, we're talking about time, so I know this is a question that could take an hour or longer to answer, but imagine it's like an elevator explanation. You're in a lift with a foreigner who goes, "What's been happening with the opposition since 2021 in Albania?" How would you describe, so from the moment Sali Berisha was declared persona non grata until today, what's happened?
Yeah, a war of roses.
Go. There'll be a bell when your time is up.
So what has happened is an ugly fight, which has been motivated by personal motives. And whenever politicians put their personal motives first, is the cause or the group, the party, and their supporters who suffer the consequences. This is what has happened. What we're trying to do now is overcome this damage. And the only way to overcome this is not through some kind of mechanical reunion, like it's being often called for by those who have participated through their indifference or through their opportunism in a divide which shouldn't have been a divide. People should have stood up for principles.
Yes.
Regardless, even if the person was not the historical leader of the Democratic Party, but it was me or whoever else. You have principles, you stick with these principles. Coherence pays off.
The greater good, not personal.
Absolutely. So now we have to overcome this. And in order to overcome this, it's not a matter of closed room negotiations for mechanical reunions. People have to see that the Democratic Party of Albania is serious about them and about the country's future. It's serious about providing frontal, uncompromised opposition to the worst government, the most corrupt government in 34 years. It's serious. You cannot be serious about fighting corruption if you talk about fighting corruption in the morning and you fight SPAC in the evening. This is complete incoherence. We have to be serious about supporting justice reform, about supporting SPAC and its efforts. We have to be serious about electoral reform that delivers for Albanians and not for a handful of politicians. And if we are serious about this, if we get serious about this, then definitely this will create the climate, the spirit of gravitating massive political support for the opposition. For 40 or 50 MPs to get together and declare that we are now together, not only it will not have the same effect, but it could have the reverse effect. Together for what? For your own needs? To be re-elected? Who cares about that? This crisis, like every crisis inside the opposition, is a huge opportunity to show Albanians that the Democratic Party is capable of changing, is capable of embracing the order of challenges that they are facing, and also has a vision to lead for the future.
Now, I want to ask you a question as well. Looking back over the last few years, in my view, what's happened and the way certain people have behaved, especially in Parliament, in the streets. I mean, I had some foreigners who live here on the show a few weeks ago when people were setting fire to Parliament and things like this. And one of them owns a business, and he said, I've had clients calling me up and going, what is going on? You know, nervous to work with him based in Albania because of this sort of thing. These things have an impact. Now, I want to ask you, because my view is that this is not constructive, you know, but you, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently over the last few years?
That's a difficult question.
This is a question
to
politicians
wrap in a short answer.
Would you do anything differently?
Absolutely, is the short answer. But if you ask me what, then we'll need much more time. Absolutely. Every time one revisits the past, in particular when it comes to political decision making, it's easy to see how in certain inflection points, moderation in a certain decision or a decision of a completely different nature would have shaped events, could have shaped events in a different way. But the best we can do when we talk about the past is learn and try not to repeat the same mistakes, but project mature, experienced, better leadership for the country.
So you won't be drawn on any specific thing that you might have done slightly differently?
I think if we went into that, we would need a much longer time.
Okay, a bit nearer the elections, I'll take you up on that. Is a consolidation of the opposition, the PD, is this on the cards? Is this something that you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want all these factions, I'm not quite sure even how many there are now, you want these back together, united.
Yeah, it's more than the factions united. I want the people united around an idea, a vision, a plan, and to show all of them that not only do we have a vision, but we have a plan to support the vision, a credible plan. We have a believable way how to make it happen, and we have the determination to see it through. I think if we demonstrate this, all of our supporters will be re-energized and will follow the lead. But we have to lead in this, and leadership has to be genuine. It cannot be a hypocritical leadership trying to cover up personal interests. It has to be a genuine leadership. Albanians can see very easily now, they are tired and sick of the kind of politics that has been playing for the last 10 years, for the last 34 years. They can see very clearly who is genuine and who is trying to benefit from the situation. And there's no margin for hypocrisy here. There is no margin for a fake offer. You cannot, as I say, in the morning do something and in the evening do the contrary of that and expect people to follow or believe. You have to be coherent. You have to make tough choices. You have to stick with them. That's what the Democratic Party stands for. Unconditional support for the judiciary, regardless of political colors, of rank. People who have abused with the trust of Albanians, with their properties, with their money, have to face the law. An electoral reform that empowers citizens instead of stagnating the old political establishment. And generally speaking, a vision for the country that allows Albanians, ordinary Albanians, to live and exploit their full potential like they do when they emigrate to foreign countries, to Italy, to the US, to the UK, to Germany, and build marvelous stories of success, not simply a good life for themselves and their families, but champions of the societies in which they live. Sports, arts, science, economy, inventions. Why not in their own country?
Yes, I agree
It
with
is
this.
not, the country is not cursed. It is not the problem of Albanians. The government and politics is and has been for quite some time the problem. This is a diagnosis. We have to fix it.
And to do that, and before the elections, the best way to do that is together, as the opposition united.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as I said before, if
We
you
need to
come
put egos
together
aside.
around the table
Yeah.
and you say we're going to get united because this way, we are more than divided, without presenting an actual offer to Albanians, I don't believe.
No.
I don't believe that in politics 1 and 1 is 2. It could be 1, it could be 0, it could be minus.
It shouldn't be about personality,
It should
supporting
be
someone's
about the people.
personality. Yeah, the
What is
policy.
our offer to the people? The people are sick and tired of this government. They know it's corrupt. They know it brought criminals into its ranks. They know it's incriminated. What they're waiting for is the alternative. And the alternative has to be trustworthy, it has to be visionary, and they have to have the highest possible guarantees that we will not veer off during and in particular after the elections. This job has been cut out for us. And I think wasting time for calls for mechanical unions, etc., this is not going to work. People will be even more disgusted and distrustful.
What do you think people think when they see, I mean, I love a good protest. I'm maybe slightly an anarchist myself. In some ways, I like a protest, but I can't help but think that setting fire to the municipality, using things like this, setting fire to chairs in Parliament, trying to climb through windows, I can't imagine this inspires much hope in your average citizen. What's your view on this approach? I understand, protest, you want justice, you want change, you're fed up of this, but is this the right way?
Experience tells me that use of radical means in a protest, which is not unique to Albania,
No.
pushes away precisely those that you need most. Undetermined voters, influencers, who usually have a distaste for this kind of acts that tend to, not always, but tend to overshadow the primacy and the supremacy of arguments. It may, maybe for a short period of time, energize your base, but that then exposes the real reasons of those who stand behind these actions. They do not care about amalgamating a larger part of the society around the right vision. They care about showing muscles within the opposition. This is the wrong approach. This is politics for personal gain. And this is not the kind of politics that can take Albania out of the abyss where this government has brought it into. Albanians deserve a proper and illuminated debate on all issues that affect them. And so far, this government has evaded that debate by using this kind of actions as alibis for not having that debate.